Are we there?
You're on.
We're there?
Mm-hmm.
Hi everybody, I'm Julie Netting here today to show you my new stamp line and to make a very fun little project using a 5x7 canvas. And I have Maral Denoyen, I'm assisting. She's assisting us today, one of Prima's biggest fans that lives here locally.
Yeah.
So we're excited to have her. And I'm going to have her making a little goodie right alongside of me. First, I'm going to show you the new stamps. We have Lorena, the glamour girl, in her long gown. By the way, she haven't done it yet, but I think she would make an adorable tooth fairy with the wing stamp set. And here's my two little girls, Olive and Riley. And they are adorable with wings. I can't stop making things with them. And then we have our two fashionistas. We have Mia, and I don't know why I'm drawing a blank on her name, but it starts with a C. And Chloe. Chloe, I should remember that.
That's my daughter's name.
That was, well, I won't say it. It was my golden retriever's name, but I loved the dog. So anyway, those are the new stamps. And we're going to be using the little girl stamps today. I do want to show you something that's coming out. This was a little brainstorm that I had teaching classes and watching a lot of women in my classes shade in their skin tones. And I decided we needed desperately a paper pad of different skin tones going from light to dark. And they are gorgeous. They all have different script, dictionary papers, French script, in all the different tones, which I think are just going to work wonderfully for these stamps. I was so happy to get that. Today we're going to be using a 12x12 ledger pad. And this pad of paper I absolutely love. It has a lot of neutrals, which everybody knows I love, as well as a few little pastels mixed in. And we're going to use this paper for this doll's body today because the skin pad is not ready yet. It won't be ready until towards the end of July. This also makes great backgrounds for canvas work, and it also makes, because it's nice and thick, it's thicker than a normal cardstock, it makes a really, really nice tag if you wanted to cut up your own tags, which everyone knows I did for years until we did a tag pad. I'll be using some little 6x6 paper pads, and by now everybody knows I love the 6x6 pads because the prints are small enough to show off their clothes more than a 12x12 inch paper. And I have the pad Believe, which is just beautiful corals and oranges and reds and greens, which I love. And then I have this little kid pad called Forever Young, which will work really well with the little girl stamps. And I used a really cute ABC it's hard to see, but it has the ABCs on it, and it's perfect for their wings. I've got the ink chalk edgers. I've got roses from the Divine collection. And I have some flower and leaf wood embellishments that we're going to be doing today. I didn't go heavy on the embellishments on this project. I really focused on paper. So we're going to start. Here's your canvas. And I'm using Claudine Helmuth paints for this project. Most of this canvas, this is a 5x7 wrapped canvas. Get it in any craft store. And most of the canvas is going to be covered in paper. So I'm really going to just focus on painting my edges. And we're going to go in a little bit around the front. And I'm using their traditional tan, which is not so much a tan, it's more of an ivory. I love this paint. When it dries, it has the appearance of a really nice oil paint. And you can also water it down because it is an acrylic, and then it has the look of a watercolor. But it is one of my favorite paints to use. Then I'm going to dip in the teal, classic teal, just a smidge. And I'm going to, I'll put the bulk of it in the middle because that's going to be covered up. And I want a little bit of teal in here. Not a lot. Actually got a little too much, so I'm going to cover that. So I have just the inside edges. You're going to pretend that teal's not in the middle. It doesn't belong there. And the outside. I'll try and hold it still. While that paint is drying, we're going to stamp a girl. And we're going to go ahead and find the ledger paper. I'm cleaning my hands. I just made a mess.
Messy.
We're going to use the ledger pad, and we're going to find a skin tone that we like. Now, if I touch this canvas again, it's going to get me all.
Yeah.
Okay, so from light to darks, I'm actually going to use this piece. And I'm using a distressed ink pad to ink my stamp. And the reason I'm using a distressed ink pad to stamp today is because that ink is really easy for me to clean when I'm doing a live with Prima or a class. It's not that I prefer one stamp pad over another. It's that I like having clean stamps. So for my own use, I would use whatever ink pad I like.
Or, yeah. Okay.
I am using a dark brown.
And what's the name of this stamp you're using, Julie?
This one is Riley.
Riley.
Is it coming up?
Yeah. And Riley has a story that I'll share with you. I'm hoping this is going to stamp. I don't know why the ink pad seems like it's
This light, yeah.
What color?
the darkest.
Let's see.
Black.
It actually did it fine.
Yeah, it's fine.
So I'm going to cut her out. And then if you want to find paper, you can either, I have olive too if you want, if you prefer her.
Oh, I have all of them.
Riley's story is my niece just had her second baby about a month ago when I was naming my stamps. So I decided to name this one Riley. And my niece and her husband are those rugged Colorado people that love the outdoors, sports, all that. And I have this vision of their little daughter being a tomboy, but her crazy aunts and great aunts buying her tutus. So this little girl kind of looked like that. She looked like she would definitely be a tomboy wearing her frilly little tutus. except I think the real Riley will be wearing hiking boots or cowboy boots or something with her tutus.
Yeah, growing up in Colorado.
So that was her story. It's fun naming them. And
I like, is it Lorena?
yeah,
I like her for quinceañeras and Sweet 16
Yeah, I'm doing a bridal one out of her for a card
bridal showers.
for my other niece. And
that'd be
Lorena
great.
is, I named her after a young girl near and dear to my heart. She's like my daughter. She's lived with us for about 7 years. And she is a glamour, gorgeous, model-like look. And that stamp reminded me of her.
She was the inspiration.
So, yeah.
And Chloe, you got from your dog.
I didn't actually get that from I just thought of that this minute,
I
but
love that.
I love the name.
Yeah, I do too.
And certain names always speak to you, you know.
Yes.
And Mia, I've always liked that name too.
Yeah,
And
Mia's
she's
popular right now. That's a popular name right now.
kind of a sassy looking girl.
I think all these girls are sassy. And classy.
Yeah, there can definitely be some sass to them. I do fussy cut my stamps.
Frank says fuzzy cut.
I know. Well, we remember
Fussy.
last time with his fussy cutting. It was not fussy cutting.
You did a great job. I gotta stand up for Frank.
You can.
Somebody has to.
I'm using the 5x7 cutting mat from Prima and the X-Acto knife to get the insides of her arms and legs cut out. And a little tip when you're doing this, you need to be pretty exact on where their skin is. You don't have to be real exact where their clothes are, because their clothes are going to be covered by another dress, which you will see when we get to that. So you don't have to stress out on being exact. And even on the skin parts, if you miss a little bit, I ink the edges of everything to fill in those gaps that sometimes get missed. So I have her cut. How are you doing with yours? Good. I'll hand over this mat to you.
Okay.
It's nice to have a portable cutting mat on your work table. Now I'm going to take, this one is called Rusty Bucket. I don't have a preference to which browns I use. I use all of the Prima browns of their little edgers. And I forgot to cut the inside of her legs, so I need to do that.
Oh, yeah. Ooh, this knife is nice and sharp. Scrap knife.
I'm trying to get in the insides of her arms, which is a little bit hard sometimes, but I like the ink to bleed into her skin a little bit, kind of creates shadow effects. And then I'm going to go ahead and go around her shoe. These shoes are colored in on the stamps. Some I leave just a line drawing so you can color your own stamps. I'm next going to use my Prisma colored pencils because they blend well, and I'm going to color in her hair. Now my little Riley is this picture I'm going to actually send to my little Riley. So we're assuming she's going to be a redhead because both of her parents are.
Well,
So I'm going to make her a little redhead. My original, she had black hair.
that's the good thing. You can customize these too.
Exactly. This little canvas, I think, would make an adorable gift to a little girl.
Yeah, for wall hanging, it would be great.
And you can make it look like her. I get a little overzealous when I do hair. I use a few different shades
Shady.
of brown. Copic markers work wonderful also. Even if you're doing white cardstock, you can color in their skin and their hair and everything with Copic markers, and they turn out really pretty. I'm going to cut the inside of her legs. And I'll ink the edges of those.
I like how the sample has really lush curly hair. Beautiful.
Yeah, I love doing the hairstyles. It's so much fun. And of course, that always brings up the question of, are you ever going to do boys?
Yes.
And we go into that every
the
time.
answer is
Boys don't have cute hair and they don't have frilly clothes. I'm a real jeans and t-shirt kind of girl. I'm very tailored and very kind of classic in dressing, but I love ruffles. I love lace. I love all that girly stuff, but I don't dress like that. So I get it out in these little girls.
I think that's why people relate so much to your dolls, because we can all kind of live out our
We can become more-
frilly,
exactly.
our inner frilly selves.
Exactly. And when I give classes, everybody gets into their little girl world of playing paper dolls, and we relive those simpler times.
Yeah, I think it's nice for us now too, because our daughters didn't have these paper dolls. It's nice for me as a mom to be able to share this with my daughter, and I think maybe that's why they've been so popular.
Absolutely.
Cross-generational.
Because it's something that this generation has not
They
seen.
have not. And it's nice to get away from their technology and their iPods and stuff to create
Yeah.
something cool and cute.
So I picked out I used a red dress on the one that I created for the sample, but I decided I'm going to use some green on this. It gets kind of boring doing the same exact thing twice, and then it's like, what am I going to do with them? So this way I have two ready made gifts here that can go to whoever I want. So I have stamped her dress and her wings on the paper that I picked out. And that's the fun part. She was always picking out their clothes. And when I do classes, oh my gosh, sometimes that will take people forever. They're picking out the clothes, and does this ruffle go with this? And then they decide they don't like it, so they have to pick another paper for this piece of the dress. And
Well, it's
It's
like
really-
us when we're trying to decide what to wear in the morning. you
it
know?
really is. And it's like playing back in the days of Barbie Land
Yes.
when you mixed and matched all their clothes.
Mhm.
And this really is pulling out the inner child in you,
I agree.
which I think we all need to do sometimes.
Absolutely.
Forget the laundry, forget the job,
Yep.
forget things that need to be done and just take some time out for yourself and
And
play.
dress our dolls. And create something beautiful in the process.
Exactly.
Now, what was your inspiration for the wings?
With the I have always done little girls with wings, and before the stamps, I had to draw them out, cut them out. I tried to save my drawings so I wouldn't have to redraw, but it was quite the endeavor to sit down and do that every time. So the stamps were perfect. And I added wings at one point in time to do a class of little fairy girls. And it's always fun to add wings. You can
Perfect,
use them
yeah.
at Christmas for
Oh,
angels.
yeah.
Um,
Well, these little girls are so cute and innocent and angelic anyway, so perfect.
Now, with her dress, this girl has a ruffle at the bottom of her dress. I love to add ruffles at the bottom of the clothes because it kind of gives you an option of adding another paper. You don't have to. That's more cutting, more gluing, but it's fun nonetheless.
That's the fun part, yeah.
It is. So this girl has a ruffle, and I think what I'm going to do is cut it off. Sorry, I get away from the camera when I get into my little zone here. I'm cutting off, I stamped her dress only. I'm cutting off her arms because we don't need them. And I'm just going around her entire dress and cutting it out. I am going to cut the bottom ruffle off of this one, so I have some contrast in the finished piece. When I cut the bottoms of the dresses, I don't get too involved with the fussy cutting of it. It's the inking the edges helps with that. It will fill in any gaps. So I cut off her bottom ruffle, and I can layer it over the doll that I cut and have the ruffle that same, or I can cut a ruffle of a different color. And I think I'm going to do a different color. So I'm going to take, I like this, I'm going to re-stamp the bottom only of her ruffle. This particular paper isn't real heavy duty vertical, but I tend to like paper with vertical lines for ruffles because it just adds more detail. When I cut out the bottom part of her ruffle now, I'm going to leave part of the dress, about anywhere from 1/4 inch to 1/2 inch of the top of that dress, because I'm going to be gluing that under her dress, and you want it to be able to grasp on.
Julie, we can tell you came from a fashion background. I don't know if you want to show them the little.
I don't know if they can see
I don't know
that.
if they can see that, but there's actual slits on the
Yes,
sleeves of the dress.
there is a little
Looks like
detail
a
there,
true fashion drawing.
and it just adds a little more detail and yeah, a little more cutting.
It makes a huge difference though, that little detail.
So now I'm going to ink my edges of the dresses, and I ink the edges of pretty much everything I do. It adds a little more dimension, and on this red you really can't see it, but I know it's there. It adds dimension and it will make this little dress pop out of the canvas or card or tag a little bit more. And we talk about inking the edges in classes a lot, and it's also the process. I love the process of it, and I am not crazy because I hear people say the same thing all the time.
Yeah, I think it adds to the finished product in terms of dimension and
It really does.
yeah.
And I don't know if the average person sees it, but we know it's there and we know that it adds to the finished piece. So her pieces are all done and they're ready to go. I am going to go ahead and start gluing her dress on. And I'm going to do her ruffle first. And this isn't my favorite glue to use, but you know what? I forgot.
What do you like to use?
For the clothes, I like to use glue sticks.
Oh, okay.
And I love the Tombow glue stick. It sticks really well, but I like the glue sticks because I can get in all the corners.
Mhm.
Whoops. And you do need a good glue stick that's going to give you the ability to glide a little bit. I may end up putting a little red belt on her at some point because I think that would be
Oh,
cute.
yeah.
I'm not going to do her wings yet until I start laying her out. Now, for the canvas, which is dry,
Oh, yeah, that dried quickly.
and Claudine Helmuth paints, I warn you, they do take a while to dry. I'm going to go through my journal pad, or my ledger pad, and I'm going to just start pulling. I'm going to keep my process, I keep the little girl dressed close by so I can start picking out colors for my background. And I'm just going to start ripping out pieces that I like. And I want it to have writing on. So I'm going to pick out the pieces that have writing. And I'm just going to stay away from the colors that are close to her skin because we want her to show up.
Stand out, yeah.
And oh, that's a good piece. And I think I want a darker brown. I kind of start mumbling as I go too. So slap me
Did
if
I think that or did I say that out loud? It's okay, we all do it.
So here is some paper that I'm going to play with. And then I'm going to take my other paper pad and maybe throw in some pattern just because.
For color.
And this is kind of fun, this edge piece. So I'm going to take this. And I have way more than I need here, but I like to have a choice when I'm doing things. So I'm just pulling out a few pieces here and there, and I'm going to start playing on my little tiny canvas. And I really liked this piece. And I'm ripping all the edges.
This is a perfect size too, because there isn't too much real estate to cover,
Right.
so it's not intimidating.
It's not, and
Yeah,
it's easy to
right.
get air bubbles out and,
Yeah, it's a good size.
you know, all that stuff that you have to worry about.
Mhm.
I kind of place the doll on the board because obviously when I'm doing a background, I don't want to put that piece there because it blends in with her skin. So I have the doll there so I can kind of see where we're going.
Okay.
And I will put those lighter pieces over here.
Somebody's saying they like the one with the long dress. I think that was Lorena.
Yeah.
Probably. Yeah, I love that one too.
I love it
That is
too. It's
beautiful.
been, that one has been so much fun for me to play with. It's just a
So
really, really
glamorous.
pretty piece.
Yeah.
Her little wings are kind of going to go in here. So I don't want anything that's going to conflict with her wings either. This is the part that it's like, okay, I'm sorry if I'm boring you guys,
Yeah,
but
but you have to get it
it's
just
such a
right.
thinking, it's such a thinking process for me because I really do want my papers just right. And the funny thing about this is I cover so much of it up with paint and stuff anyway. I don't know why I worry about it, but
Has to be
again,
just
it's
right.
just part of the process. So she's getting there.
Mm. Yeah, this one is sassy. Look how she has her hands behind her back. In a sassy way.
I like the writing to go, you know, some of it across, some of it
Okay.
down. Every which way, that will go there. I need a little bit more. We're almost there. When I get it where I want it, I'm just going to use this one because it's here. I will then ink most of the edges, of course.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And the tricky part is kind of remembering where everything is. So we will start inking the edges. I have another color here, which is dry sand, which I really like because it's not a super dark. And it kind of adds just a touch of that aged look that we all desire in our work. And I'm going to go ahead and do that really quick. I'm going to take her off.
People are saying that it'd be nice to have dies that cut out the dolls.
Well, maybe someday.
Maybe.
You never know.
Okay.
You never know what's up our
Alright.
sleeves. But I do have to say one thing. As a little girl playing paper dolls, when I was too young to do the cutting, that was like a bonding time with your mother. And those times with electronics are few and far between anymore.
Yes.
And when I got old enough to cut, cutting for a child gives you a lot of skills, hand and eye
It's true.
coordination.
Motor skill, the large motor
um,
skills. It's true.
It really does. So and cutting for me at this point in my life is very therapeutical.
I like that sound that the scissors make when they cut the paper.
I do
love
too.
that.
And I just enjoy cutting. But die cuts, you just never know, is all I can say.
Okay. You're teasing us.
Okay, I think I edged everything. Now, I'm going to take Mod Podge. And you can use just a regular matte medium to do this if you want. I like Mod Podge because it's easy for me to clean up. And it's kind of a one-step process.
And it's easy to find. People
It is
can get their
easy to
hands on it.
find. And I'm going to start laying these down. And this gets a little tricky because you forget where things go sometimes. So you end up fudging and sometimes it comes out different than you had it. But that's just life being crafty. And I put not a heavy coat because I want it to dry, but not so light that the paper is going to come up. And I put the Mod Podge on the canvas first.
And you're leaving just a little edge over to show the
I
color.
leave a tiny little bit of edge
That's perfect.
because I don't want that paper going over on the edge. And I just start laying it all down.
Somebody's
and-
asking what the inker tool is. I wonder if they mean the.
That is a chalk ink edge tool that Prima puts out in I don't know how many different colors, 1 million?
Yeah, 48.
I knew
Thank
someone
you.
would know the
Yeah.
answer.
I cheated. I looked up.
Almost 1 million. And I'll be using some colored ones later in the project so you can see what else we can do with them. But they work amazing
Yeah, they're really nice.
for the edges of your paper. And they have a handle that you can hold on to. And I have used some of the same inkers for over 1.5 years now,
Wow.
teaching classes, and they still have not run out, and the ink pads have not fallen off, so I love them. They are starting to wear out finally. I think I'm ready to put some to rest. But every time I go to throw one away, a student will say, no, there's still a little bit. I can still get more.
Oh,
So. And at this point, things kind of fell apart. I don't know where things went, so we'll just fudge it.
That still looks good.
I tend to leave my edges straight, but they can be torn as well on around the edge of the paper. I do it different every time. I don't have a set of rules that I have to do. Otherwise, things get to be pretty monotonous and the same. I use my finger to really get the air bubbles out.
Yeah,
You don't have to worry on pieces this small. And they dry surprisingly flat if you don't get every single air bubble out. I'm amazed sometimes. It's like all the air just gets sucked out.
Yeah, I wonder where it goes. Where it goes away.
I know.
Well, Mod Podge and canvas are just a match made in heaven. So,
Yeah, I kind of lost it. I don't know where things went, so but that's okay.
It's okay, we don't remember either.
Nobody's gonna know.
I guess you could do it, take a quick picture with your phone. If
You
really
could.
want to,
You
know.
could.
I wouldn't do it because I'm not a perfectionist, but
I'm not either, and if my phone isn't right by my side, I won't walk 5 steps to get it
yeah.
because I'm
same
always
here.
in a hurry to get, not in a hurry, but I don't want to stop doing what I'm doing.
And plus, you might get Mod Podge on your phone. Maybe that's not a good idea.
That could be a problem.
Yeah.
Although I have Mod
Phones
Podge
are not cheap.
kind of all over
Yeah.
my house. Every bathroom sink. I need one more little piece of paper on my edge, so I'm just gonna not worry about inking the edge. I'm just gonna get it down. I think it's gonna be hidden by a wing, so I'm not too worried.
They said, Altered Joe says, that looks great, Julie. Love the look so far.
Oh, thank you, Joe.
Cool collage background.
Okay, yeah, these papers work really, really well for backgrounds. And there's several different ledger pads and journal pads, which work beautifully for this. We're going to let that dry a little bit. And then I'm going to go ahead and glue her wings on. This paper actually, this background looks pretty as is.
It does.
However,
Gorgeous.
she's not going to show up too well on it, so we're going to do a little bit of paint and blending and stenciling. And I'm going to go ahead and glue her wings. I never like their wings on really straight. I like them kind of crooked and messed up because I think little angels or little fairies should be kind of mixed up and mischievous looking.
Yes, and they're not perfect.
Exactly. Just like our art.
That's like us.
Okay, so I have her wings on. She's ready. Oh, usually I will chalk their cheeks, but I forgot my chalk, so I'm going to color in just a little bit of color that's a little light. What do I do?
Julie, they want to know what papers you're using for the background.
It's called the ledger pad, and the style is the item number is 844424, and it's 48 sheets in a pad of all different colors and all different scripts that just work perfect for that.
And then I liked how in one of the videos you said to use actual makeup on their cheeks. I
Yeah,
love
you
that.
can. I'm not one of those ladies, but I know them that carry every, 3 bags of makeup in their handbags.
Well,
Yeah.
you know, it's not easy looking this beautiful.
Me? I don't care. I have too much art to create. This is dry enough to work on right now. And what I'm going to do is take it's so funny, I have to look at this and remember what I did. I have Punchinella, the sequin waist stuff, and I have, wait, first we're going to do something different because I did the background a little bit different on this. I need to tone this down. If you look at this, there's a lot going on. So I need her to pop out of this picture. So what I'm going to do is take a baby wipe with just a dab of that natural, what was it called, traditional tan, and I'm going to wipe some of that paint over this to blend it.
Can you use gesso for this too?
You can use gesso, and that I was looking at my original one to see what I did, and I had forgotten gesso. I don't really want it real white,
Yeah.
so I'm going to use that, and I'll put her on it and see it toned it down quite a bit.
And also, I just noticed the Mod Podge is glossy one.
It isn't. Just the container says so.
Oh.
I use matte,
Okay.
and I buy it by the gallon, and I
Okay.
refill bottles. I had to buy glossy once because it was all they had, and I really don't care for it.
Okay.
So that was a good thing to point out, because someone I'm sure noticed the color of the bottle. So that is toned down a little bit.
What's the best way, Julie, to clean the stamps when you're finished with them?
Good question. I use the distressed ink pads a lot because that wipes off. It just wipes off. If I'm using a different type of ink, baby wipes work pretty well. When you're using a permanent ink, I honestly don't know, because I don't use
I don't
permanent
think it'll
inks
come
that
off.
much.
The color won't come off, but
It doesn't.
yeah.
Here's mine. So now I'm going to take if anybody has an answer to that, they can write it down for us, because I really don't know.
I'm sure someone will know.
So I'm going to take, this is a gorgeous color called Vintage Pink, and I'm going to rub some of this through this punchinella, just random spots. And I don't know if you can see. And it's just very random. Always like a little bit in the corners.
Oh, they're asking about the pattern paper too in the background.
Okay, those are 6x6. One is called Forever Young, and that's a lot of little kids, ABCs, cute stuff. And then the other one is called Believe. A lot of florals, reds, greens, mustards, some of my favorite colors. Then I'm cleaning off that piece of punchinella with a baby wipe, and now I'm going to take white, a white chalk ink, and I'm going to, again, randomly. I will use white a lot in my projects on my backgrounds because it kind of brightens them up. And this, I used gesso a lot, and then I discovered, why not use these little ink
Easier,
pads? 'Cause
yeah.
the colors are super
I
nice.
love that idea. And what is punchinella?
You know, it's a floral supply. It comes on rolls, and they make ribbon out of it. But it's sequin waste. That's what it look. Once the
that.
sequins are punched out, that's what it looks like.
Oh, okay. Sequin waste.
Now I'm going to take some of my pattern paper again, and I'm just going to punch some flowers to put in the background. And her dress is green with red trim, so I'm going to do some red paper flowers. I know I'm at Prima and I'm using paper flowers. I don't know why, but I just wanted some flat flowers on this. I don't know why.
always good to have lots of
Sometimes
options.
sometimes I get lost in paper pads, as crazy as that sounds. I love paper. I am so addicted to paper.
As between paper and fabric, because you were in the fashion industry.
More
Just
so
paper.
paper. And I used to buy scrapbook paper and I didn't scrapbook, I didn't do anything, it just sat. And I think I'm gonna use the same ABC paper because I like it. But I will put a flower on just because we are at Prima.
And Kari says the white inkers are great for tips of flowers and edges of embellishments too.
Oh, I bet. I can't decide my center flower, so I'm just going to cut a couple different ones, see what I like. Always do odd numbers when you do something like this. That's like an art rule.
Why is that?
It's just an art rule.
No, that aesthetically is better.
It's one of those competition things or composition things they teach you in school. And it's just stuck in my head forever. And of course I'm going to ink the edges. You can't really see it on the red, but I'll do it anyway. And then I'm going to go back to my Mod Podge. And I'm going to put the flowers down. She's going to go kind of off-centered. So I'm going to put a flower there in the center. I don't put them exactly in the middle because nothing in nature is exact, right?
That's right. And that's why it looks so beautiful, because it's random and pretty. Well, somebody's from Greece, somebody's from,
Really?
yeah, but people from Germany.
Oh, cool.
Wow. And Sharon says these canvases would look cute in a girl's room. Absolutely.
Yeah, very cute. And I have half a flower because I like something to
yeah.
go off the
Mhm.
page. So we have all that glued down.
And those, so she says you could add their name with large alphas. I love that.
Yeah,
I love that.
very cute.
Mhm. And customize it to the colors of their room.
Exactly. Along with their hair color, and
Yep.
this would look very cute on the outside of a package.
Oh,
Very
oh,
cute.
I love that.
As that's drying, we have the wooden embellishments, and I'm going to use a leaf and a butterfly. And the leaf, I'm going to color in with an ink pad called Rock Moss. Simple, simple. Sometimes I get into inking the edges of these too. And the brown kind of bleeds into that wood, so it's really pretty. And then the butterfly, one of my favorite products is the Viva Inca Gold. And I'm going to, I don't want to get, usually you do this with your finger, but I just really don't want to get my finger messed up today because it's hard to come off.
You don't want to have red fingers?
I'm going to spread the platinum color on my wooden butterfly. And I like to really glop it on.
Ooh,
It's
really
very pearly.
shiny.
And then I'm going to take a dab of red, and I mean a dab, and I'm going to work that in with the platinum. Get a little more platinum, and you can really mix your colors. You can use ink too with the ink up platinum color, and it works. And I have just a really pretty shiny pearlized butterfly.
It's probably hard to see, but it's really shiny and pretty.
Yeah, and the colors
It really stands out.
pretty variated.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard to
It's
see.
shaded, yeah.
Trust us. It's really, really pretty. You have to trust us on that.
Ramona says you need to make pets to go along with these girls.
Oh, one of them may have, I don't know, a little French poodle. I don't know. We'll see.
Oh, Chloe needs a French poodle.
What you guys don't realize, which is really fun to be around this, is everything is in the process of being put to bed for next January already. So,
Wow.
and then it's time to even think about beyond that.
Oh.
Oh, I know what I forgot. Pop dots.
Okay, let's see.
One thing I want to point out, thank you. I knew we would find something here
Yes.
in the Prima workroom.
With Frank around, I'm sure there'll be pop dots.
The bottom of Olive's dress here, I just wanted to point out, I used a paper doily, and that's always fun to use at the bottom of any of the dresses that I do. My little butterfly, he's dry, so now I'm going to take an ink pad, and I picked up the wrong stamp, but this will work. Any stamp with script on it. This one is actually a little big, but that's okay. And you guys will never be able to see that, but I know it's there. It makes me happy, and that's what matters.
Yeah, you can see it in person. It looks really nice.
And I just stamped a little bit of script on that butterfly, just because. I don't have a style number on these because they're not out yet. But they are little plastic hearts in the yummiest of candy colors. And you guys can consider this a sneak peek. You can look for those soon. And I'm going to use these little hearts as the center of my flowers. And I'm trying to decide what color. This is a big decision. Yellow's not really showing up like my original. I'm using the green.
Okay.
And I'm just going to place those on my flowers as little centers. And then I'm going to top dot her on. I want dimension. You could actually Mod Podge each layer of her on. I've done that too, but sometimes it's just fun to have a little bit of dimension.
Oh, people are talking about dressing the girls for the holidays.
Oh, yes.
You'll have to give us ideas on that.
I did tons of tag classes last year without the stamps. I mean, they were like my drawing that I had to make patterns, but with Christmas paper. Oh, I did this brownie class. This brownie leader asked if I would teach her girls.
Oh, what a good
And we did a wooden frame similar to the frame that's on the Prima blog today. And we used their Christmas paper of a couple years ago, which was winter scenes. and they turned out adorable.
Oh,
And these girls got so creative. They made their dolls have little jackets, little hats. They didn't have patterns for
Oh.
that, and they just got all into it. It was a lot of fun.
mm.
It's fun to see kids in action because they don't
Oh, yeah.
think about
Oh, yeah.
if they're doing things wrong like we do.
You're right. They're not inhibited like we are.
So I am putting her on, and I layered her a little bit over my flower. And I'm going to go ahead and glue my stuff on.
Looks
So
cute.
I'm going to glue my butterfly. I should have pop dotted that butterfly, but too late now. And maybe I will the leaf, because this is going to be a gift. So it has to be cute.
And you know what? Actually, these aren't too heavy, so you can even ship them. It wouldn't cost you. I've done
Yeah.
that where I've shipped these little canvases, and they're so nice.
And they could be shipped even in a bubble mailer.
Mm-hmm.
They don't even have to be boxed up,
Mm-hmm.
as long as your little wings are protected. And then we will add a beautiful Prima rose because we are in the Prima headquarters. And I twisted that little wire instead of cutting it off. So it looks like it really came from a vine. And there we have a couple. Oh, I forgot. This is important. Perfect pearls. We're just going to do some little edges
Oh yeah.
just because.
It kind of takes on the theme of the, what was this thing called?
The punchinella.
The punchinella.
I just learned about punchinella not too long ago. I never knew what it was, and I always wanted it.
Here come the dots. Sharon says.
I know. I haven't done
Here come
dots
the dots.
since the 80s, I have to tell you. If
Dun,
anybody
dun,
remembers
dun.
arts and crafts in the 80s,
The dots are
dots
back.
and then I saw Frank doing dots, and I thought, I need to get the
Why
dots out.
not?
So just a few dots to frame it is really cute. So there you have a couple different versions, different girls. And as you can see, when everybody's always turns out different because everyone's going to do their stenciling in a different way. People are going to put their wings on in a different way. Everyone has their own touch. So they always come out very different, which is it's the fun of it.
Mm-hmm.
So there you have it, guys. I think we're done.
Oh, good. It's a gorgeous, Julie. You are awesome. Yes, she is.
Oh, thank you. I'm glad you guys are enjoying these stamps because I am having a ball with them. And that'll do it for today. Thank you so much for tuning in, guys, and thank you so much for
Thank
helping.
you.
And I'm glad you got to play.
It was my pleasure.
It's
It was
always fun to have a buddy to play with.
Thank
So thank you, guys. Have a great day.
Have a great day, everyone.